Okay, I'm going to come back to Zoom. So we're setting up, we're live on Facebook. I'm really excited we're all here today. Thank you everybody for being here. We're going to be talking with Cherilyn Chin about storytelling to protect the planet. And I want to introduce her real quickly, and then she has a great slideshow for us. And she'll tell us some things about what we'll be talking about, why at the very end. So in this workshop, we're going to have a great time. And it's interactive, and she's going to be sharing what I'm really excited about is some basic storytelling structure. So Cher is a marine biologist. She's an environmentalist, a writer, a blogger, and a photographer. And she found her writing voice in the form of Oli, the octopus, and started her blog called Ocean of Hope. Marine animals find their voices on ocean conservation issues. And she did that about 11 years ago. And I just met her last year. I'm just thrilled to have her in my life and her inspiration. And when I found out what she was doing, I said, could you share with us about telling stories? Because obviously you're a great storyteller. She's also the owner of Wordsmith for Wealth, which helps women with their heart-centered business to maximize their online presence. So welcome, Cher, and why don't you go ahead and take it away?
Hi, everybody. Here, I'm going to share my screen. Welcome to Storytelling to Protect the Planet. I'm your host. I'm Cherilyn Chin, as you know, and I hope everyone's having a great St. Patty's Day. So by the end of this workshop, you'll have an idea that can be used for a blog post, article, start of the book. And the theme of the workshop is one diamond insight is worth more than 1,000. So we'll go over the basic elements of a story. It's a little bit different than what you've seen in school. It's based on a business storytelling workshop that I attended. And I'll tell my story of my unforgettable moment with May, a 3-day-old sea otter pup. We'll review the story kind of with some basic story elements. I'll tell my story of giant Pacific octopus hickeys. And then we'll go over that with the 6 essential elements of $1 million writing. There's a man named William Whitecloud who has a course called Writer's Genius online, and he's sold millions of dollars worth of books, so he knows what he's talking about. We'll do a guided meditation for about 6 minutes. If you haven't done one before, don't worry, I'll lead you through it. And then we'll write for about 12 minutes, and then we'll share ideas and wrap up. So for fun, I thought we'd play a game called 2 Truths and 1 Lie instead of a traditional bio. So basically, if you're on Zoom, you can either unmute or type in the chat which one you think is a lie, the number. So the first one is, I have an octopus named after me, Cherilyn. I have a manta ray named after me, Cherilyn. Or I have a whale shark named after me. Any guesses? Oh wait, I think I have to stop sharing to see the chat. 2. Oh, okay. What? Any other guesses? 1. Yeah, I think the one have it. You have no idea. Okay, let me share again. So the truth is, oops. That's me and a whale shark. It's not the one named Cherilyn, but I do have a whale shark named after me. It's off of the Gulf of California, or the Sea of Cortez off of Baja, California. And the one on the right is the actual manta ray named Cherilyn, and it lives off the southern tip of Baja, California, off of Cabo San Lucas, off of Socorro Island. So the next one is, there we go. I've snorkeled with wild dolphins in the Bahamas. I've snorkeled and scuba dived with manta rays off of Kona, Hawaii. I snorkeled with humpback whales off the Dominican Republic. So any guesses there?
I think 3 is the falsehood.
Yeah, you're pretty good. You guys know me pretty
Agree.
well.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a picture I took when I dived with the manta rays off of Kona, Hawaii. The picture on the right is me in the middle, with some spotted dolphins off of the Bahamas. And I haven't yet snorkeled with humpbacks off the Dominican Republic, but I am planning to next year. It was delayed due to COVID. So you can tell I'm not a really good liar, so. Okay, so here we go. Number 1, I've had 2 ocean themed essays published in 2 reference handbooks. I have published 3 books, and my blog post, The Ocean of Hope, have won awards. It's another sort of tricky question.
Mm.
Ooh.
They're all amazing to me.
I think, yeah, Paul gets it. I haven't published 3 books, but I am writing. I am writing them. So I've had Coral Reef Bleaching, Is There Hope, published in World Oceans, a reference handbook by David Newton that just came out February 28th. I'm having Microplastics and Plankton published in Plastics and Microplastics, a reference handbook by David Newton, coming out hopefully at the end of this year. My blog posts, A Journey of One Drop of Water and My Manta Ray Encounter, won 1st and 2nd place in the San Mateo County Fair Literary Contest. And I'm currently writing 3 books. One is a middle grade mystery about coral bleaching set in Hawaii, a middle grade book by Ollie the Octopus on different ocean conservation issues, and a young adult book about a mermaid-like species that transforms into different animals.
I figured what was false about it was you'd published 4 books.
Thank you, Paul. So here, this is the last one, is I've met Jane Goodall, number 1. Number 2, I've met Michelle Obama. Or number 3, I've met Sylvia Earle, the female Jacques Cousteau. Any other guesses? Pretty, yeah. It's number 2. I haven't met Michelle Obama, but I have met Jane Goodall on several occasions after her talks. And also, I've met Sylvia Earle. She's pretty amazing. She's pretty much the most famous marine biologist on the planet. She's dove all the way to the bottom of the ocean. She's dove like 10,000 hours underwater. She's pretty amazing. Okay, so now we'll go over the basic storytelling elements. This is sort of like what you've done in school, but it's adapted for business storytelling or telling of everyday stories. So we'll go over it with Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone in mind, the first Harry Potter movie, in case you haven't read the books. And sorry if you haven't read them or seen the movie, spoiler alert. There's an introduction or exposition, setting and introduce the characters. So that's Harry when he's at the Dursleys and he has a miserable life living under the staircase. There's a rising emotion or complication, which for Harry was when he figured out that he was a wizard and he gets whisked away to Hogwarts. And the decision and action or climax was when he figured out that Voldemort wanted the Sorcerer's Stone and he vowed to stop Voldemort. And the following action or consequence was when Ron, Hermione, and Harry were in the dungeon solving Dumbledore's puzzles to get the Sorcerer's Stone. And he had to go on all by himself. And then the resolution or denouement, which means to unravel, was when Harry actually defeated Voldemort or Professor Quirrell. So now I'm going to tell my story of my unforgettable moment with May, a 3-day-old sea otter pup. My unforgettable moment with May, the sea otter. It was a dark, foggy, and quiet night on my volunteer swing shift at the Sea Otter Research and Conservation Program at the Monterey Bay Aquarium. The day before I arrived, a southern sea otter pup named 199 was picked up as a two-day-old orphan from Santa Cruz, California. She did not have a real name yet because the hope was that all rescued sea otters would someday be released back into the wild. 199 was later named May when she was deemed unreleasable back into the wild. So I'll refer to her as May from here on out. All captive sea otters at the Monterey Bay Aquarium are named after John Steinbeck characters. I had volunteered for several years and earned the privilege of taking care of the sea otter pups. I made May her clam shake formula. The formula is made from hand-shut clams, cream, squid, and fish, all blended in a blender. I put the formula in a warm human baby's bottle, and I walked out to her water trough and haul out by the ocean. I opened up the metal gate to the enclosure, which squeaked. So by the time I had reached May on a haul out, she was wide awake. I sported the back of her head with one hand while I held the bottle to her mouth with the other. May guzzled the formula down quickly, and the white formula dribbled down her mouth onto her soft brown fur. Sea otter fur is so soft and dense, was up to 1 million hairs per square inch versus 100,000 hairs on a human's entire head. The water in which they live in is cold, around 50 degrees Fahrenheit year round. They do not have any blubber, and it is their fur that keeps them warm. So that's why oil spills are so devastating when their fur gets soiled and they can't keep warm. I placed May in the water trough next to her haul out and cleaned the fur as best I could through my disposable latex rubber gloves. Sea otter pups cannot sink, so there was no fear of me letting go and her falling to the bottom. I dried her with bath towels and groomed her with brushes and combs. I forgot why I picked her up, but I held May in the palm of my hand and she nuzzled her tiny muzzle into my hand. She was only a few days old and probably only weighed a few pounds. My hands are petite size, so she was really tiny. In that moment, I knew the hundreds of smelly tanks I had cleaned as a volunteer were well worth it. Peering through my dark welder's mask, I could barely make out the black eyes and nose that a sea otter has. Human caregivers in the Sea Otter Research and Conservation Program, or SORAC, wear welder's masks so that pups can't make eye contact. They also wear a large black poncho to disguise their human shape and look much like Darth Vader. The idea is to keep sea otter pups from bonding too strongly to humans and stop them from interacting with humans when released back into the wild. Now the female captive sea otters at the Monterey Bay Aquarium themselves are the surrogate mothers. When May was older, she was released into the wild, but unfortunately she interacted with kayakers and she was captured and deemed unable to stay released. She became a resident sea otter at this Monterey Bay Aquarium. May became the first sea otter to raise a previously orphaned pup on exhibit and raised many orphan pups until her death in 2012. Holding May in the palm of my hand, I had never felt so close to any animal before. It was the tiny and frail sea otter needed me at that moment as much as I needed her. It was proof to me that all beings on the planet, furred, scaled, feathered, or human, are invariably connected, whether we choose to acknowledge it or not. I do not know how long that moment lasted, but it is etched in my memory for a lifetime. So the next, this is back to the business storytelling workshop. Spectators see a blank screen until you relive surrounding characters and places. Capture and record your opening scene is where, when, and who. So in the story I just told, it was at the Monterey Bay Aquarium was where, and when was when I was a volunteer there, and who was me, and as well as May. Capture, record the heart of your story or desire. What do you want? What did you do to get it? So I wanted to bond with the sea otters, and I was able to do that. And I worked really hard to get to that point. Captures and record characters' actual words, their spoken words or internal self-talk. There was no dialogue, but I did tell you about how I felt so close to May and to all living beings. And capture, record what happened, the sensations, the feelings, the realizations. So the sensations were me holding May and the feelings of closeness that I had with her and the realization that all living beings on the planet are connected. So now I have another story, and then we'll go over the 6 essential elements of $1 Million Writing. This story is called Giant Pacific Octopus Hickeys. I was working my dream job as an aquarist intern at the world-renowned Monterey Bay Aquarium. I had gone there several times as a child after it opened in 1984, and I never thought I'd be roaming its halls, taking care of all the marine animals. I had been there for a few months, and it was my turn to rotate through the cephalopod gallery. Cephalopods include octopuses with their 8 arms, squid, which we eat, known as calamari. This is a cuttlefish, not real colors, of course, that's flat with 8 arms and 2 long tentacles that shoot out when they eat. And the chamber nautilus, which is known for its beautiful shell when you cut it in half. It has a beautiful pearlescent sheen inside. One day after cleaning about a dozen windows in the cephalopod gallery from behind the scenes using scrub pads and a long pole outside the tank, it was time to feed the giant Pacific octopus. It was a small one at probably about 20 pounds and a 5 to 10 arm-to-arm wingspan. The aquarist arrived with a tray full of seafood. I was apprehensive to meet such a foreign-looking animal. The head aquarist weighed the dead fish in the water, and the octopus came to the platform at the top of the tank. The sides of the tank were covered in astroturf, so the octopus suction cups couldn't take hold, and the octopus couldn't escape the tank. There are many stories at other aquariums that told of octopuses escaping their tanks at night, going into neighboring tanks, eating the fish there, and then returning to their own tanks, and leaving the aquarists scratching their heads in the morning, wondering where their fish had gone. But it wasn't until cameras were installed that the aquarists figured out who the culprit really was. The head aquarist gave the giant Pacific octopus the dead smelt, and it passed the food suction cup by suction cup to its mouth, which is underneath its head. This is its head, below its head. The mouth looks like a parrot's beak and can inject venom, so I was careful not to get my hand too close to it. I picked up a piece of shrimp and placed it in the slimy, sticky suction cups of the octopus. It brought it to its mouth, suction cup by suction cup. Soon I got the hang of feeding the octopus, and I got bold. I let it feel up and down my arm with its suckers. I even got a hickey on my arm because it suctioned so hard. I became addicted to the unique feeling of being felt by octopus's sticky and slimy suckers. Not only do they feel you through your suckers, but they also taste you. All along, the octopus was staring at me through the slits in its eyes, and it was changing colors. I was told that octopuses change their colors depending on their mood, and this one was a happy red. So that's like what you see in the picture there. The octopuses have feelings that they actually show through changing colors. Soon the food was all gone, and so was my once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to feed a giant Pacific octopus. Who knew that 20 pounds of invertebrate, most closely related to snails, clams, mussels, and slugs, could be so smart, touching, and exciting? After looking at curiosity in the octopus's eyes and sensing its playfulness, it squirted water at me several times with its siphon, and it gave me an octopus hickey. I forever knew that even the 97% of all animals on the planet, the invertebrates with no backbone, are sentient, no doubt with thoughts and feelings. Octopuses, along with their fellow cephalopods, are the smartest invertebrates on Earth. In conclusion, feeding a giant Pacific octopus forever changed my view of invertebrate intelligence and sentience. So these are the 6 essential elements of $1 million writing. We'll go over each of them on a slide on their own. This is by William Blackcloud. He's written a couple of books that have sold millions of copies. His course is called Writer's Genius. And the 6 essential elements are: number 1, simplicity; number 2, unexpectedness; number 3, concreteness; number 4, credibility; number 5, emotion; and number 6, use of stories. So your story should basically have a single theme, argue a single point, or campaign on a single issue. And in a class that I'm taking called Women Speak, they say 1 diamond insight is worth more than 1,000. So in this story, it was invertebrates, especially octopuses, are sentient with thoughts and feelings. So that was what the whole story was about. Number 2 is unexpectedness. Be original, have a fresh voice, be surprising, and open gaps in your reader's knowledge and fill them. So hopefully it was unexpected that the octopus gave me a hickey, or even though I did name the story that, and the story about octopuses escaping their tanks was unexpected. Number 3 is concreteness. Your idea or story should be easy to grasp, easy to comprehend, visual and clear, and not abstract. So this was just on the outside, a simple story about feeding a giant Pacific octopus. Number 4 is credibility. The story must be believable. It must be logical. And in this case, it was told from the viewpoint of a marine biologist and aquarist, or me. So hopefully that was believable and logical, the way I told it. Number 5 is emotion. You must use stories to introduce emotion. You must feel something to care about it. And in this case, you end up caring about an invertebrate of all things, an octopus. Though if you've seen the Netflix documentary, My Octopus Teacher, you probably have an idea of how smart and intelligent and exciting octopuses can actually be. And number 6 is use of stories. Not just the facts, ma'am. You want the drama that the facts represent. You want all the above elements of concreteness, credibility, emotion, unexpectedness, and make sure that it paints a picture. So I used a couple of stories. I used the story of feeding the giant Pacific octopus and the story of famous octopus escape artists. Okay, so now I'll lead you through a guided meditation for a few minutes. And if you have paper or a word processor handy for afterwards, that would be great. So close your eyes. Take a deep breath in, hold, and sigh it out. Take in a deeper breath in, hold, and let it out with a sound. Take another conscious breath, hold, and sigh it out. Now imagine you are taking a walk through a forest. It can be any kind of forest, from the redwoods to a rainforest. Take in the scents all around you. What do you smell? Take in the sounds all around you. What do you hear? Feel the earth beneath your feet as you continue to walk down a straight, well-worn path. Feel the warmth of the sun on your skin. Hear the birds singing in the distance. Hear and feel the dirt crunching beneath your feet as you walk. Continue down your path. Soon you come upon a fork in the road. Choose either left or right, knowing it's the right path for you. Continue to walk down your chosen path and take in the sights, sounds, and scents all around you. Soon you come upon a clearing in any ecosystem of your choice on Earth. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? Can you taste anything in the air? Is the air light or heavy with moisture? In this ecosystem, as you walk, you come upon a creature, real, imagined, or mythological. Notice what this creature is doing and just observe it. What is it doing? Soon this creature notices you. It tentatively comes up to you. What does this creature say? What has been the experiences of its life, good or bad? How has it interacted with humans, directly or indirectly throughout its life? What does it think humans can do to help them on their plight or journey? Now pick up a pen and pencil and some paper or open a word processor. Write about the creature you came upon and what it had to say to you. We'll write for about 12 minutes and come back to share if you'd like. We have about a minute left if you'd like to wrap up. Or you can continue on after this workshop. Okay, that's our 12 minutes. If anyone wants to come back and share, we have some time for that. Or else, I do have one final story that I can share, and we can wrap up. So feel free to unmute and share what creature you came upon.
Sorry, I had to find my cursor to unmute.
Okay, it's like 3 paragraphs. Is that all right?
Yeah, we have time.
All right. I'm in a pristine redwood forest. There's no pathway. I have to walk across bouncy, uncompacted compost in order to reach a deer path. The light is cool and filtered even between the trees, very dark beneath them, so that when there's a patch of light, it seems hot on my skin by comparison. I hear shuffling beyond the fairy circle of redwoods that I'm passing. Then I see a bear cub. It's rocking a fallen branch, trying to roll it over. I freeze for part of a second. The cub senses my presence, looks up, and starts moving toward me, curious, scared, but excited. I'm looking for the mother bear. Then she comes into view. Her nostrils are flaring as she tries to catch my scent. She pulls herself up, looking at me. She snorts. The baby freezes. I turn. I walk away slowly. I can hear her following me for what seems like a very, very long time. At the moment, I feel like it might be the rest of my life. But then her footsteps fade and then stop. The forest is pretty silent. I think she's still watching me. I keep walking without turning around. When I reach the road, I get into my car before I look behind me. She's not in sight.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Nudie. That was neat. Does anyone else want to share? Or else, I just, my alter ego, Ollie the octopus, just talked to me and was wondering where I've been and why I haven't been writing for him lately.
Yeah, you don't want to piss him off.
No, I don't. He has so much to say and he only has a year to live, so.
So I'd like to share
Sure, go ahead, Denise.
very different type of story than if you call yourself, how do you say your name that just did the Newty?
Newty. Good.
Newty. Okay, that
Yes.
was lovely. That was so profound. I loved it. Okay, so I went walking in the forest one day and I came upon a creature and it was a squirrel. It was digging and burying nuts, and it came over to me and introduced itself. My name is Elliot, he said. He looked me over, and then he asked me if I was hungry. I said that I was indeed. So he gave me some nuts. I explained that I did not have a way to crack the shell. And Elliot said, use your teeth. And when I smiled, he could see that my teeth were not for shell cracking. So he offered to do it for me. We spent a bit of time together. Elliot took me to see his favorite spots in the forest. He introduced me to some of his friends. I told him how much I loved to walk in this forest and to smell the fresh air and the damp ground and to listen to the birds singing. Suddenly, Elliot's tail went up and he said, "Sorry, have to go," and raced off. And the birds that were flying low and his friends on the ground were also running away because somebody was coming with their dog. That's all I got.
Yeah, that was good. That was fun. Does
That was
anyone
fun.
else want to share?
I could.
Okay. Yeah, we have some time.
Okay. Driving toward Gualala, we noticed a sign saying Cruise Rhododendron Reserve and decided we could stop there on our way home. A couple days later, we watched for the cruise sign, not around this curve and not around the next. We thought we had missed it. At last, there it was, but no entry gate or fancy sign, just a one-lane gravel road into the hills with trees all around and a creek down the slope to our right. We stopped, hoping to get some good photos. Up the road were tall redwoods. Beside the road were giant horsetails, a kind of plant distantly related to ferns. I had read about them, but this was the first time I recall seeing one. They looked just like I expected from the books. I wandered up a small creek to a fallen tree. Some fungi were growing from the decaying wood. I looked closer, 2 or 3 kinds of lichen in patches. And what is this? A small shiny patch here. I'm thinking maybe a slime mold. Again, I only have book knowledge. These amazing creatures live like giant amoebas, but reproduce with tiny mushroom-like fruits. They eat bacteria and microscopic algae off of the ground and litter and decaying wood. They move, but only a few inches a day. They may change direction depending on what they encounter. I assume it doesn't know I'm watching, but then again, if it can change direction, maybe it would notice my finger in its path. I decide not to touch. What I think it would most want is to be left alone. I should help preserve its habitat. Back home, I consult my books again. Slime molds are the most distinctive beings I have yet seen. Only amoebas are listed among their close relatives. Yes, I will help preserve their habitat.
Nice. Thanks, Paul. Something we don't think about every day. Does anybody else want to share?
I have a question for Paul. Paul, my grandparents used to live in the Bodega Bay area, and there was a rhododendron place there. Was that by chance the one you're talking about?
I'm pretty sure it was. The
Oh
the
my
place
gosh.
I'm talking about is north of Bodega Bay and south of Gualala.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I didn't hear exactly your geographic description of it. Oh my gosh, that's just amazing.
Just off of Highway 1.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. Oh my gosh, how fun. I actually never went to it. I passed the sign many times.
Now, as of about 3 months ago, a study came out that showed that slime molds can problem solve. They can set barriers in their way and go around them and avoid things that have proved to be dangerous in the past.
And they have been proved to be able to find the smallest network that will connect 3 or 4 locations of food.
So the next time you think about cleaning your kitchen, you think again.
Yeah, well, everybody's learned more about invertebrates today than they've ever known before. We have some time left. Does anyone else want to share? Or I'll share my story of Held with the Octopus. That's my last story. Let me show you a picture. The actual picture.
Your voice has changed somehow, Cher.
Is it loud enough?
It's kind of gravelly.
You're echoing too.
I've heard about this one. I'm using that doesn't
And very echoey.
well, let me try this other. We have some time.
Maybe if we all mute ourselves, that might, sometimes that helps.
Why don't you try it again, Cher?
Hold on. Let me see
It's
this.
there. It's still there. I can mute everybody. See if that helps. Okay, we're all muted, including Cher. And me. So Cher, you're muted. You want to try it again?
Okay, how does that sound?
No.
Not any good?
Wonder what happened.
Oh, yeah, let me try using my AirPods.
Talk, share.
Oh, hello? Anyone hear me?
You're back.
I'm back. Okay, good.
That's great.
Okay, so I hate for you to miss Waldo the octopus. Here's the actual picture of Waldo. But I use it as my picture for Ollie, actually. But in any case, I was sad the other day to read that humans are now farming octopuses. I was especially sad because I recalled my experiment in teaching a captive octopus to open a jar for food and knew how intelligent they were. At Six Flags Discovery Kingdom, also known as Marine World when I worked there, it's in Vallejo, California. My coworker had caught a small octopus on our collecting dive to Monterey Bay, and I was in charge of taking care of it. He was probably less than a foot long, arm to arm, but had a personality that more than made up for his small size. We all decided on the name Waldo from the books Where's Waldo, where you would have to find a cartoon Waldo and pages full of people and objects. He mainly hid from me, but sometimes I'd walk by his tank and his two eyes would peep out from his favorite barnacle shell. I knew octopuses were intelligent animals and wanted to make sure Waldo wasn't bored in captivity. Zookeepers and aquarists always make sure the animals they take care of have enrichment, whether it's a novel food or toys or puzzles with food inside. So I decided on an experiment of my own. I would teach an octopus to open this jar for food. I started with a live grass shrimp in a small clear jar, filled it with water, and gave it to Waldo underwater. He felt my hand with his suckers before tasting the jar. It's a unique feeling of being suctioned by an octopus. He not only felt me, but he was tasting me at the same time. Of course, this time he got the shrimp, as octopuses have good eyesight. The next day, I gave Waldo a jar with shrimp inside, but I put the white lid on without screwing it on. He felt the whole jar with most of his arms and quickly pulled off the lid and got the shrimp inside. The next day, I twisted on the lid one turn and gave the jar to Waldo, who played with my hand and felt the jar a little. After some investigation, he soon had twisted off the lid and got the shrimp inside. Finally, I filled the jar with water and the live shrimp and twisted on the lid tight. I gave the jar to Waldo, who played with the jar a few minutes before twisting off the lid and getting the shrimp inside. It's one thing to read about octopus enrichment or how intelligent octopuses are, but it's another to actually teach a small octopus to open a jar for food. I hope by sharing this story, you also realize how intelligent octopuses are and how farming them for food isn't fair to them. They only live about a year and deserve to live that life with dignity.
That's a beautiful story, Cher. What a lovely way to end it. It has all the elements of
Oh,
a
wait.
story.
Oh yeah, it did. Oh, I have my contact information next. Forgot. So this is my contact information in case anyone wants to contact me after this. I'm on Twitter at Protect Oceans. You can go to my blog at oceanofhope.net. I'm on Cherilyn Chin on LinkedIn. And if you came up with a great idea for a blog post, I welcome any of you to guest post on Ocean of Hope, marine animals, voice their wishes on ocean conservation issues. Yeah, just contact me. And thank you for joining me today. And I hope you have a happy St. Patrick's Day. And if there's any questions or comments, feel free to unmute or else I'll see you guys some other time. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Cher. Thank you so much. I want to thank everybody for coming. I'm Natasha Zellerbach and the name of my company is Sustainability Pathways. And we have forums like this every month. And I would love to send you an email with Cher's contact information if you'd like. Just go ahead and put your email address in the chat box. And then you'll be in our community and I can stay in touch with you. I'll also send you at that time an opportunity if you want to join my email list. We're also on Facebook, obviously, which is where we're live today. And I'm really happy you're all here. So this is called the 3 Ps of Sustainability Forum. And I love to talk about sustainability from a really broad perspective. It isn't just about the environment, it's about the people and the planet. This one was the one about the planet, but it's also prosperity. So Cher was here to share the part about the planet. So I'd love to be in touch with you. Go ahead and fill in the chat box if you'd like to stay in touch. And Cher, I'd also like to have the information you have here.
Oh, sure.
Contact information. And if we could go ahead and put it on Facebook, and I can put it in the email address that I'm going to send out to folks that are on Meetup. So Tom will get one of those and other folks on Meetup and anybody that sends me your email address today. So thank you. Does anybody else have any final words except for a great big thank you?
I think this was just marvelous. I loved it.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks so much, Cher. I love what you share. And I love the sharing and community that we created here, which is another thing Sustainability Pathways is about, is creating community. When I feel upset, which happens frequently when I hear about the news or some of the latest scary stories that we hear about our environment and even social injustice. It's about community. It's us working together, knowing that every little bit that we do does make a difference, but it helps to share that in community, and which is why I created this Facebook group and the meetup. So I'm going to say thank you again. Did I get everybody's? Okay, I got a few of your, so I'm presuming that everybody that would like to be on the email, follow-up email has already put your information in here. Is that right, everybody?
I'm putting mine in right now.
Okay, I'll stay on then for a few minutes. Great. It was lovely to meet all of you. Sure, I'm just delighted with the community of people that you brought here today.
Thank you. Thank you for hosting.
You're very, very welcome. It's a real pleasure.
Thank you, Cher.
Thank you. Thank you for joining, Mary.
I
Okay.
had to join late because the time hasn't changed here in Germany and I screwed up again. I still have a hard time with the time change. But I want to know, can you explain to us where that photo is taken from, Cher, behind you, the dolphin?
Oh, the dolphins.
That's
Yeah,
good.
that was when I was in the Bahamas a few years ago. These are spotted dolphins.
They're gorgeous.
Yeah, it's a real picture. It's not a stock picture. It's one I took.
You are a photographer. Also want to mention that if I have your email address, I will email you the link to the YouTube where I'm also going to post this this video. So it'll be on Facebook, but it'll also be on YouTube. So it has a greater audience capability there. So thank you very much. If you haven't put your email address in the chat box, I'll stay in for a couple of minutes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Grace.
I actually just have a quick
Everyone.
question. Who, just by a raise of hands, who here is a Monterey Bay Aquarium person or past Monterey Bay Aquarium person? I'm like recognizing some people here. I'm like, who the heck? Hey. That's
I've been
awesome.
there years ago. I love the museum. As since I was there, I can kind of imagine it. I remember the great big algae trees in the big
Yeah, the kelp forest. Yeah.
kelp forest. Right. Amazing. And
That place has
often I
touched a lot of
visit the-
lives. So it was
pardon?
nice hearing it. That place has touched a lot of lives. And I'm really glad Cheryl shared her story.
Yes.
It's a favorite place of our daughter and granddaughters. In fact, our granddaughters wear COVID face masks bought from the aquarium, which have pictures of penguins and other creatures they have there.
It looks like they're eating them.
So Kristen, do you work at the Monterey
No.
Bay?
No, I worked there for 10 years. I left in 2005 because I fell in love with an army guy, and I live in Germany because I fell in love with an army guy.
That's a hell of a commute.
So you'll be
No,
able to
they-
watch, you'll be able to watch the whole recording if you give me your email address. I'll send you a
Yeah,
link.
I gave you my email address, so we're good.
All right, great. All right.
So, and I'll tune into your blog, Cher. I didn't know you were writing in first person. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, yeah. Ollie sometimes or other animals. Yeah. And I just got a new graphic. You let me know what you think of it.
Okay,
Is that
again,
great?
like
Is that
dogs
great in the
and cats
background?
writing in the background. So
Yeah, no, I've enjoyed all the pictures of Groot on Facebook.
Okay.
Bye everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Cher.
Bye. I think that actually is my mom.
So, Mom, that's so cute. Did you
Oh,
get
I
to-
guess you can stop the Facebook Live. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I should stop the Facebook Live. I'm collecting, make sure I get the
Oh yeah, yeah.
chat. Got the chat now. Stop the Facebook Live. Oh, you know what I have to do that? I have to stop the,
I thought the meeting. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, why don't I get off too?
okay, great. All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay.